The Philadelphia Phillies have landed Gene Segura. 99.9% of the fan base is happy about the trade. But the 0.1%, we got him on the Bitter Birds right now. Tony Del Grasso is here. I am Adrian Fedque. Tony D, this is the forum for you for this trade. So I don't want to say that you didn't like the trade. Maybe that's not fair. But I want to say that, is it fair to say that you don't like the trade as much as everybody else, right? That's fair.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. So here we go. Tony D, Debbie Downer once again. First of all, I would like to say that I was one of the people who probably defended Klentak more than anybody his first couple years here. So I'm not always Debbie Downer. But in this case, there's aspects of the trade I like. So let's get to that first. Obviously,
all right, we'll get with the good stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, getting rid of Santana, not so much getting rid of him, but allowing Reese to move to first automatically makes the defense better, which means Reese goes back to his natural position, and then you get an actual outfielder in left field. So that helps automatically. The two relievers they got are kind of whatever. Pesos might have a shot to crack the 25-man roster opening day. Nicasio is just an organizational depth guy. So let's not kid ourselves that we got any game changers with those two guys. So it's pretty much a Crawford for Segura swap, essentially, is what's going on there. And I'm not a huge fan of it. Sorry, my computer.
You loved J.P. Crawford. Let's just get down to the boil of it, to the nitty-gritty. You love J.P. Crawford.
Yeah, I kind of he's been a top prospect in the organization for like 3 years. He was the number one overall prospect in baseball 2 years ago. People forget that. And Phillies never gave him a shot, man. He has 225 major league plate appearances. 225. Was never really given a shot. So let's just get into the two players here. All right. I don't hate Segura. Segura is a nice player, all right? But this perception out there from other fans, like we just got some great shortstop, is just not true. Yes, I get it. He hits 300. Woo! He hits 300. Yay, we finally got it. You know who else fucking hit 300 and everybody couldn't stand? Ben Revere. You know who's a little closer to Ben Revere than a lot of fans are willing to admit? This guy. Okay, now don't get me wrong. He's not Ben Revere. He's a lot better than Ben Revere. But yes, he's going to hit 300, but his on-base percentage is probably only going to be 340, 350, which isn't bad. Okay, that's still solid. But in terms of the projection ability that – did I just create a word? That JP okay, so what are the stats we had before? JP Crawford has 29 walks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
29 walks in 225 plate appearances, whereas Gene Segura last year had 32 walks in 632 plate appearances.
Yeah, and you're talking about a 22-year-old compared to a 28-year-old. Okay? That's huge. So, yeah, he's going to hit 300, and he's not going to strike out, which fans are so excited about, but get prepared to see a lot of weak ground balls to second base and shortstop, okay? Because other than the year he had in Arizona 2 years ago, he has essentially no power, okay? Now, I understand in Seattle, it's one of the worst places to hit in all of baseball. I totally get that. So, realistically, his power numbers are probably somewhere between the numbers he put up in Arizona that 1 year and somewhere between what he did in Seattle the last 2 years. With that said, that's still not very good. I mean, you're still talking about a guy who's going to slug like barely over 400. All right. And to me, J.P. Crawford, I think was definitely going to develop more power than that. I don't think J.P. Crawford was ever going to develop into more than a 260 or 270 hitter. But I think his on base and his slugging was going to be much better than Segura's. And I think he already is a much better defender. Let's get into that too. Some people think the Philadelphia era, we just got Ozzie Smith defensively. No. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even a shortstop coming up. This guy was a second baseman who started playing shortstop and ended up being good enough at shortstop and got a contract. By most defensive metrics, he's average at best. Most say he's below average. A lot of other scouts don't even think he's going to be a shortstop moving forward. So He's going to be 29. By the time he hits 30, 31, he might lose a step and not even be quick enough to play shortstop anymore. So that means you're telling me you're going to have a 12 home run guy playing what? I mean, he can't play anywhere else if he's not going to hit. And then, on the last thing, everybody talk, it's such a team-friendly contract. Is it? I mean, it's not bad, but he's still getting, what, 12, 14 million a year until 2022? I mean, it's not like they're getting him for nothing. He's certainly a hell of a lot more expensive than J.P. Crawford would be for the next handful of years.
Yeah. So among shortstops from 2016, 2018, Gene Segura does rank first in average, 308, fourth in on-base percentage, 353, 11th in slugging, 449, fourth in OPS plus at 115. Any thoughts about that and those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, when you say those numbers don't look bad. But again, those numbers are skewed a bit from his year in Arizona. The year in Arizona was great. He hit 319, 368, 499. If he comes close to those numbers, I mean, fucking great. Yeah, if he gets on base over 35% of the time, fine. I'm just not very confident he's going to do that.
Yeah. So what you're mad about, I don't think you're mad that they got Gene Segura. What you're mad about is that the Phillies gave up on J.P. Crawford. And not only gave up on J.P. Crawford, they picked Scott Kingery over J.P. Crawford. And that really bothers you. And they didn't even give J.P. Crawford a chance. So if J.P. Crawford goes on and has a hell of a career, is hitting 15 homers a season, maybe he's not hitting 280, maybe he's only hitting like 260, but he's getting on base. This trade might blow up in the Phillies' face, but it's all going to depend on J.P. Crawford. Did the Phillies get this one right or not? We'll see.
Yeah, you hit it on the head there. That's the thing I'm upset about most is just it's a head scratcher to me how Kingery has leapfrogged over J.P. Crawford in the eyes of the organization. It is a fair point to say to mention how the current management isn't the management that drafted JP.
Yeah, the old regime did. Yep.
Right, but at the same time, in terms of what the organization has consistently said they're looking for in players, in terms of guys who command the strike zone and make a pitch of work and get on base, I mean, that's exactly the kind of player J.P. Crawford's going to be. And Gold Glove level defense. And I just don't understand how Kingery is Kingery was one of the 5 worst players in baseball last year.
Yeah, and all season long, Gabe Kapler was spinning it, man. He was spinning it. Yeah, Kingery's doing a solid job for us. I like Kingery, yada. Well, we just saw what the Phillies thought of Scott Kingery at shortstop now by trading for one.
Yeah, and even in Kingery's best years in the minor leagues, he was never a high on base percentage guy. Was always a guy who struck out a ton, didn't walk a lot. So it's just really a head scratcher to me why they essentially chose Kingery over Crawford, because I would be willing to bet Kingery's going to be the opening day second baseman this year. They're going to get rid of Cesar Hernandez. I mean, if I were them, I would have J.P. Crawford as my opening day second baseman, and if you really want to have Gene Segura be your shortstop. It's just really head scratching to me. It makes me think that there's something the public doesn't know, whether it be some type of disagreement.
Someone with the attitude that, you hear the reports about with Crawford, that kind of stuff. There's got to be more to it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's been rumors about the kind of stuff too, hustle, work ethic, blah blah blah. So who knows what happened, what actually happened. I'm just concerned we ended up giving away a much better shortstop for a guy who's just an okay shortstop. But again, factor in all the other stuff too, the Santana and the Hoskins being able to move, blah blah. I understand it. Don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying. I do like some aspects of it. I'm just not sure this is the way I would have gone about it, because I'm sure there were plenty of other ways where they could have gotten rid of Santana, and moved Hoskins first. But that said, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. Seattle supposedly is going to take on all $35 million that's left of his deal. So I still trust Clintack. I definitely think this means more moves are obviously going to be made.
Yep.
They still have room for Machado, still have room for Harper. Corbin just got signed by the Nationals. Thank God I didn't.
Yeah, I actually I meant to start with that for the show. So, well, anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, I think the Phillies probably dodged the bullet with that one. I was not comfortable giving him a 6-year deal, and supposedly he got 6 years, 130 some million.
Oh, 130 something million. I saw 126.
126. Okay. Well, STEM.
I mean, I don't know what the number is. Like it could be whatever, but he signed literally right before we came on to do the show, and I'm in agreement with you. I mean, he got more money than you, Darvish, which is just insane. But kind of speaks of where the market is at with the starting pitchers. That's what we were talking about. I mean, 6 years, 126 million for a guy that's been inconsistent his entire career, ERA of over 4+ for most of it. Does it concern you? Like who they're kind of attacking here, the Phillies organization. You got a guy in Gene Segura who, great last year, great last couple years, but he's a guy that's been known to be inconsistent year in, year out. And then you got Patrick Corbin, who besides his rookie year in Arizona has been meh, but great last year. I would want a little bit more consistency here with the guys that they're targeting. Obviously, if they get Harper and Machado, I mean, there's your consistency right there. But does it worry you that who they're going after?
I think it's kind of two-pronged, because I think on the Phillies side, it helps them by being in on everyone.
Yeah, it just reeks of so much desperation.
Yeah, well, but on the player side too, every agent that's worth a damn is also saying his clients are linked to the Phillies, because everyone knows the Phillies have the most money to spend right now.
Yeah.
So, and again, yeah, I kind of like it, because the Phillies supposedly being so hot on Corbin, maybe that made the Nationals offer bump up a couple ticks. Maybe it's all smoke and mirrors. These guys they're supposedly in on, who knows if they're actually in on it or they're just trying to drive the prices up.
Yeah. Well, the name that I'm hearing now that they might be interested in is Jay Happ as the lefty starter. We'll see about that. But with you on Corbin, 6 years, 126 million. Hard pass. Just nope. Get away from it. There you go.
I want them to Japanese Ikuchi. There's a Japanese left-hander. He's about to be posted. He's 27, left-hander. They say projects as a number 3 type starter in the big leagues. I would take him in a heartbeat, especially he's going to cost a fraction of the price. I would sign a guy like him and then go after, get as many high-quality relievers as you can.
Yeah.
And hopefully you land Harper or Machado.
If the Phillies did, in fact, lose all confidence in J.P. Crawford, maybe this was the move to make, because if you look at what's out there at shortstop, there's not much. It's like Jose Iglesias, Freddie Galvis, not much at all. So you just hope at the end of the day that their scouting department got this one right.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty much what you're banking on, and I also think there's a school of thought of saying, well, yeah, there's no doubt Segura is the better player today. 3 years from now, who knows? And
it's like the Michael Bourne Bradledge trade again. It's like a lot like that.
Yeah, and the Phillies are in win now mode. I mean, the Phillies see themselves as, especially if they land one, Harper Machado, they see themselves as a legitimate contender. So they might. I think it's pretty obvious they soured on Crawford, but maybe they also soured on him in terms of, oh, he's going to take a lot longer to develop than we thought, and we just don't have.
Yeah, they just did, and I think what's going on here too. I mean, the Phillies are seeing the attendance, the lack of interest in the product, so they're trying to make a lot of moves, get the interest generated again. Eagles are obviously, coming off the Super Bowl win. You got the Sixers and the process and how that's prospering. Flyers still stink, but so the Phillies right now, I mean, they see these other teams are making moves. They want to get part of the winning. Be part of the winning.
Yeah, I mean, you look at even the New York Mets, who still apparently play Major League Baseball. They think they could win this year too, apparently, because they're they just got Cano and Edwin Diaz.
Yeah.
So they're going after. I don't know, but I also hear they're trying to trade Syndergaard, so who knows what the fuck the Mets are doing, to be honest with you. But it's always interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Harper, Machado, which one do you think the Phillies will land? Do you think they get both? Do you think they miss on both?
I'm going to stick to what I've been saying for a while now. I think they end up with Harper. I think Machado, but I don't know if you saw yesterday. Supposedly the first team to meet with Harper in Vegas was the Dodgers. They're a team that really scares me. You've been hearing for a while they're not going to be in on him. All these teams, the Cubs, the Dodgers, all these teams have been crying that they don't have money. Don't believe it, because it would surprise me if one of these teams comes out of the woodwork and offers him $450 million. I do think that if Harper had his way, he would go to New York because he grew up a Yankees fan.
Mm.
Not sure the Yankees are willing to offer him that kind of money.
Yeah, it seems like the Yankees are a little bit, cash strapped at the moment, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah, look at the outfield they have right now. So I don't know, but again, you can't count them out. Like Machado, the thing about Machado, some people think that the Segura deal actually makes the Phillies more in on Machado, because supposedly him and Segura are boys, and Machado would be willing to play third base for the Phillies. Then, who knows?
Do you think the whole thing about him wanting to play shortstop is to just drive up the price?
Yeah, I thought that from day one. Anybody who's seen him play, eye test and metrics say he's not a good
He's
shortstop.
a third baseman.
Yeah, but he's great at third base. So even if now, again, with that said, depending on the team he lands with, he still might play shortstop the next couple years. But by the time he's 28, 29, 30, I'd be shocked if he's not third base long term.
Yeah. All right. Let's say they don't get Bryce Harper. Who would you be interested in as an outfielder? I'll go first. Michael Brantley.
Yeah, there's two guys that I absolutely love, and Brantley's one of them. Brantley and Pollock. Brantley is the kind of guy who he also is a 300 hitter. All these fans want a 300 hitter. Cool, he's a 300 hitter, but he's also going to get on base a lot.
Yep.
And has enough power where he could stick in the outfield. Not a 30 home run guy, but a 15 to 20 home run guy, can steal some bases. He's just a professional hitter. Pollock is a guy who's a little more athletic, give you better defense, can steal some bases, but he also has some power. He's a guy who's battled a lot of injuries, but when he's been healthy, he's been really one of the better outfielders in the league with his power speed combination. So both of those guys, even if they land Harper, I wouldn't mind them signing one of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Brantley, he walks more than Segura, and like Segura, they both don't strike out a lot at all. So
Right. Yeah.
that's what they're known for. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Did I skip anything? I think we got everything covered here on the Segura trade.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So you got your thoughts out. All of your criticisms are definitely very fair. And if J.P. Crawford turns out to be something, then this trade will not look as good in 3 to 4 years. Because that Michael Bourne trade, I kind of brought that up. The Phillies definitely got the beneficiaries of that trade early on, but then Michael Bourne wound up being a pretty good baseball player. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But clearly the Phillies were done with J.P. Crawford. Didn't really think he had that much of a future. The fact that they were willing to part with him. So they went and made the move, and we'll see if it's the correct move. So you got any final thoughts?
No, I hope one day we find out what really happened with that whole J.P. Crawford situation. Because to me, there clearly something happened, which made them sour on him completely. Because he went from being an organizational gem to, Pedro Florman was getting playing time over him. It was
that was our big thing at the end of the year. It's like, why is J.P. Crawford not playing?
Yeah.
Why?
There was always these mysterious injuries, and then you'd ask Gabe Kapler about it, and he'd be like, "Oh, well, yeah, if he's healthy, he'll play." But it was just weird.
Yeah.
But we'll see. If anything, this definitely means more moves are going to be made. So next couple weeks are going to be lots of fun.
Making money moves, just like Cardi B. There it is. That's Tony Del Grasso. I'm Adrian Fetchu. Take care. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a Philly show. See you.